This
Hey,
meeting is being
greetings,
recorded.
friends. Jacque Howard here, and welcome to one of the podcasts. And make sure that you let the folks and the networks that you see this, let them know how much you appreciate the folks that I'm bringing to you via these conversations and interviews, etc. Today is going to be a little bit different because these folks are sort of new friends, but we're vibing, and we all have something in common, something similar, and that's really about finances, economics, self-reliancy, community development, all those different things wrapped up into one. But before we do that, I want to make sure that everyone takes a moment, gather yourself a writing utensil and a piece of paper, because this is not going to be enough time to have all of your questions answered. So it's really important for you to follow up with whomever the guests are that I bring to you so that you can have your questions and answers found out in detail directly from them. And oftentimes when you do that, you do what I'm really about, and that's building a better community, because now you got two groups of people, maybe more than that, coming together in a galvanized situation in a space and building a better community. Remember, we love our neighbors as we love ourselves. A lot more can get done. So with that being said, I'm bringing on Seyi and I'm bringing on Nika. Now, we're going to go through a few different things here as they introduce themselves. But a big overall picture is to keep in mind Chase, Manhattan Bank, yes, Chase Bank, the region of Mercer County, or the Trenton region, and the city of Trenton, and entrepreneurs. And with that being said, Seyi, I'd like for you to start off, introduce yourself, your position as the Vice President of Community Managing, or the Community Manager for Trenton, that position, and how that's led to your relationship with Nika and her Curate Noir.
All right. Thank you so much, Jacque, for having me on. Really, in my specific role, I serve as a bridge between the community and the bank, and looking for ways for us to bring resources to really create economic empowerment for our communities. And so, in my specific role with Chase as a community manager, I uphold four fundamental pillars, which is housing and home ownership, financial education, minority small business ownership, and workforce diversity. And my connection to Nika goes way back at a former financial institution. We worked together, and she's just one of my great partners in the community. We've done a lot of work together in the past. And so as I kind of begin to socialize within my role here at Chase, I tapped on her. Partnership is important in building communities. And Nika is one of those trusted partners in the business space that does a lot of work all across New Jersey. And I know she has a lot of clients here in the Mercer County, Central Jersey area as well. And so we started to kind of talk about how we can provide financial education and access to people, but also thinking about ways for us to do events that can add value to the business community here in Trenton and in Mercer County. And I couldn't ask for anybody else, better to lean on for that. So Curate Noir is a great institution that does a lot of great work and promoting Black and brown business. But I'm not going to steal Nika's thunder. I'll let her talk more about her business.
That'd be fantastic. And Seyi, just to go a little bit deeper, when you talk about the community manager and the specific focus on Trenton, can you just talk a bit more about what that looks like, and why does Chase feel it's important and integral to be focusing on communities like Trenton?
Absolutely. I think that we have to go back to the environment we found ourselves in 2020. We had a situation where we had COVID-19 really rampaging through our communities, impacting a lot of our communities here in Trenton and just the greater New Jersey and in the whole nation and the world as a whole. And part of that also, the subtext to that also was a lot of racial tension in the country with the George Floyd incidents and what happened there, and how that created a lot of civil unrest in the country, but also brought up specific conversation around racial inequities. And so Chase to that effect had been doing work in the community in the past, but begin to say to themselves that we need to do more. We can't just stop where we are. We need to do more in the communities. And so what we asked ourselves was like, how do we close that racial equity gap? And so Chase made a $30 billion racial equity commitment to specific minority communities, and Trenton happened to be one of those communities as well. We have close to 150 communities across the country that we're serving, not just 150, but as a specific basis, but then serving greater areas from there as well. And so Trenton happened to be the state capital of New Jersey. A lot of disparity here, but also a lot of tremendous opportunity. And so Chase was like, we need to be here in Trenton to make an impact in the state capital, and for the 90,000 residents that call Trenton specifically home, and in the greater Mercer County as well. And that's why we've owned in on this particular area.
Great. Thank you so much for going into detail on that. And folks, that's part of what I do with Civic Engagement Radio, is to kind of provide opportunities that you may not have seen, you may not have heard, you may have not engaged with someone specifically who can tell you what the facts are, not what you heard, not what you assumed, but someone whose actual position it is to get this information to you. And that's what we're going to be doing here. With that being said, Nika, I'm going to bring you in now, and then we got a trifecta going on the screen. So we're all here right now. And besides all of us wearing glasses and being people of color, Nika, I'd like for you to talk a bit about your organization and why you started at one, and then what's it like to partner with Seyi and then an organization like Chase.
Yes, well, thank you for having me on today. Curate Noir, we actually started during the pandemic. And prior to that, I was in marketing. I've done radio marketing, business marketing, small business marketing, and of course, the pandemic dried a lot of those opportunities up. So from there, it was still my goal to help small businesses, which then we created the Black-owned business box, where we debuted Black-owned businesses in a subscription box format, which we send out to our subscribers. So from there, we just grew because people are very curious and wanted to see how they could get access to more Black-owned businesses, Brown-owned businesses. So we decided to then venture and open up a brick and mortar at the Morristown Mall. So now we are Curate Noir. We still, do our boxing, we still do our gifting, and still bring Black and Brown-owned businesses to homes. But now we can bring it to people who just walk by and are curious to see, hey, what are these creative people, wonderful people doing, and how can I be a partner? How can I service? How can I support? So that is who we are and what we've been doing for almost 2 years now. And being able to partner with Chase and Seyi primarily has been great because, like he already said, we partnered prior. We host in Black Business Awareness Month, we host 2 events, which are our Black Business Expos at the mall, where we did work with Seyi on that as well. So now being able to do this in more of an outdoor community is that much greater, and bringing the free opportunities to people is what it is all about, and being able to get that financial knowledge from Chase, getting the business knowledge from other panelists that we're going to have there, and giving small businesses opportunities to get in front of audiences that they may not have had that chance, just like we do here in the store.
That's fantastic. And I'm going to bring all of us on again on this because now my brain is firing off this early morning. So when you came up with the brilliant idea of creating the Black Business Box, the subscription box, and started sending it out during COVID, I'm sure there was a lot of concern about what the marketplace was going to be like. No one at that time really knew what to expect. Nika, can you talk about what that was like, and then also what that was like in your relationship with Seyi?
Well, during that time, it was challenging. We already had a lot of connections with businesses in general, but having to do a lot of research, digging, but there are a lot of businesses that blossom during that time. So being that people were home, it was like, oh, I've never heard of you. Oh, you have that gift. Oh, you're that talented. I need to connect with you. So, I mean, it just required a lot of digging, researching, and showing those brands that may never have been found. They're not in Target, they're not in Walmart. So it wasn't until after we've opened the store that we actually connected with Seyi, because it was just more of a grander scale than just the box that we had from home. So, as you grow, you gain greater partnerships. So that is why I think it's good that we were able to get in front of more people, because we made great connections.
Awesome. Great. Awesome. So this is the next thing. I spent a great deal of my time, professional time, in brick and mortar spaces doing fashion and so forth. During this time, a lot of the malls and brick and mortar sites are closing and transitioning and becoming something different. Can you talk about how that all came together and that decision and what it's been like so far?
Well, I can only talk from, the dark to the light, because for me, it was opportunity. I saw, oh, okay, it's very dark in this mall. Stores have closed up, but hey, this may be my shining light, my door of opportunity, which it turned out to be. It was like, oh, please come, because to be honest, I have reached out to malls prior to open spaces for other businesses, and I never got a call back. So being able to walk in and it was like arms open wide and getting ongoing support has been great. Now that stores are opening slowly and closing, we're still in that limbo. Morristown has some great opportunities because they're doing a lot of reconstruction here, but other malls may not be feeling the same long-term, long goal effect that we're holding strong and crossing our fingers for. But we stay positive. The key is marketing. So no matter who's here or not here, if you don't let people know where you are, no matter what the state of the business is, they're not going to know who you are or shop from you if you don't tell somebody.
That's right. Check off that marketing box. Well done. So those who are listening and watching, you actually got yourself a free one from a professional right there. Seyi, can you chime in on that as well? Because I know that even for you as a financial provider and educator, there's challenging times now as well for Chase during this. And can you talk about like how that has worked with Nika and Curate Noir?
No, I mean, I think to Nika's point is looking for opportunities in the community. The work needs to be done. And so when you face with specific obstacles, you have to find ways around it. And because ultimately there's a mission, we're trying to serve our communities. Chase prides itself as being the bank for all. And in order to make that a reality, we have to scale whatever obstacles that are there. I mean, traditionally, Chase hasn't really been very heavy in this region, but I'm glad to say that in the last 10 years, how we've been able to continue to open more locations all across South and Central Jersey, into Philadelphia, which is an expansion market for us, and continue to find ways to do that. You both obviously using understanding that in the future space of banking, you have to kind of match two things. People still want in-person interactions. That's something we found, right? But at the same time, also utilizing the online platforms as well. So whether it's social media, whether it's our online banking, which Chase has a strong and robust online banking presence as well. Being able to meet both of those things is important in being able to move forward. And I'm really proud to say that what we've been able to do with Nika is use both platforms. We do actually host workshops, financial workshops right now, where we actually utilize Zoom, where Nika brings a group of business owners across the country, not just even in Jersey alone, across the country together, where we're able to teach them. And so utilizing that, but also too doing in-person events like we're going to be doing on March 11th. So we have to do both. I think in this particular climate, people want to come out. I mean, COVID is, kind of really caused people to really think about the importance of in-person as well. But utilizing both platforms, I think, is important. And that's what Chase is trying to do. And that's why our partnership with Nika and Curate Noir is also very important.
All right, fantastic. I want you to drill down a bit more on the folks who are a bit apprehensive with financial institutions and big banks, et cetera, especially in financially challenged zip codes. There's oftentimes a lack of people who have a proper checking account or even a banking account, et cetera. I know we're having conversations about how we can have basic one-on-one conversations at Hub 13 for the general public about, just some basic information that Chase can sponsor. Can you just speak to the folks about what Chase is, what Chase isn't, and why it's important and more applicable for folks to get on the books, so to speak, with their finances?
Here's what I would say. When it comes to banking, I tell folks all the time when I do my workshops, don't put your money under the mattress. Don't put your money under some table somewhere. And I understand the apprehension. I understand that because if you're not being socialized around banks, if you had bad experiences, rightfully so, you're going to have reservations around the bank. And what I tell people is that not everyone in the bank is the boogeyman. There's always advantages. Use the bank to your advantage. Whether it's credit union, each bank brings different things to this table. I know for us at Chase, being the number one bank in the country, we have a lot of resources. Maybe sometimes smaller banks might not have. But again, I think whether or not you choose to bank with Chase or not, I think it's a matter of your own choice and your own values. But I know that we bring a lot to the table in terms of our resources. But now we actually have community managers like myself on ground to hear the pulse of the people, to hear what's going on and try to bring that back to Chase so that the banking experience is much better. So that's all I can tell you on that part, is that we actually have boots on ground, hearing what the community is saying, not someone who doesn't live in the community. I live here, so I know, I know what's going on in my city, and I'm knocking at the doors of Chase as well to advocate for Trenton to bring more resources. And I think that is the differentiator for us, maybe with other competitors. But regardless of that, I think all banks are doing great work in their own right. But I know for what we're doing here at Chase is, how can we help people become more familiar with banking, take away the obstacles they might have? We have branches in Roebling, right there in Roebling Plaza. We have branches in Hamilton, and we're hoping to continue to do more in that space as well. So don't be afraid of the bank. We're here to educate you how to use the bank, but also know that whenever you come in, you can have a good experience.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And Nika, I'd like for you to take the last few moments and just talk to those folks who maybe can resonate with you and as an entrepreneur and your business model, et cetera, and provide some information and or encourage for them, please.
Yeah, well, what I would say is I'm really looking forward to our event next week, because it really resonates with what we're about and our partnership with Chase, and just being out there, taking risks, open when doors are open, run through. You never know what could happen. And now is those times that, COVID has shaken us a little, probably to be a little bit more advantageous than we were before. And, just go with it. We all have ideas. We all have creative genes, and we can all utilize it to develop something of your own. I'm a strong believer that, I guess there are those people who said always having that side hustle. Growing up in a family of entrepreneurs, still working a corporate job, but always had that side hustle that you say, one day, this is going to be it. But, it just, you have to take a risk. For myself, it was, I got laid off and I said, I'm just never going back, and never will you tell me I can't have a job. Who knows what it is for other people, but, at least try. Don't stop. If it doesn't work, keep trying and trying and trying. One of my favorite books is that Fail Forward, so just do it. That's all I can say. And come out on March 11th, because there'll be other women there, other people in general there who have taken those risks and are successful. And our speaker is my mentor. She is going to have so much to share, because, she started from nothing and is now doing it where everybody's like, oh, one day I want to be like you when I grow up, type of thing. But, we all start somewhere, but we can all have a goal and achieve it.
That's fantastic. Nika Corbett of Curate Noir, and the link will be in this shortly, as well as Seyi. of Chase Manhattan Bank, or Chase Bank. Thank you both for all the work that you're doing, not only advocating, but also sharing that information, because I think that that is also what we all need to do so that the next generations can get an opportunity to benefit from our experiences. Until we meet again, folks, this is Jacque Howard. Remember, it's always about justice, peace, and humility.